Would you like to formally start now then?
Welcome to the Create and Invent podcast, where we talk to all kinds of people that create stuff and invent stuff. And today we've got somebody that's really interesting, does a lot of building and kind of has a bit of philosophy behind it, a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts. Our guest today is Pocket83. How are you doing, Pocket?
Well enough, thank you.
Pat, how are you?
I think I'm also doing well enough. I'm a little tired today, but I'll be okay.
Now today, at Pocket's request, we're going to do something slightly different, although not too different. What we have, each of us have, not questions, but kind of like conversation starters. And we've decided we're going to have a time limit on it. So it's going to be 10 minutes each that we're going to just go into this and just talk about it.
I'm ready for whatever you tell me to do, Jeremy. You're in charge. You're the boss. And I get in trouble, boss? I'm told, if...
You act like I'm some sort of taskmaster or something, but I don't think I've ever gotten mad at you.
Note to viewers. Listeners, rather, I apologize for not uploading a video feed. I tried, but my camera doesn't, it's just not compatible. I'm used to recording things and then editing them and then later posting them online. But today it didn't work that way, and I apologize. I wanted to put something visually interesting here for you, but it didn't work. Of course, my online persona is anonymous. You don't get to see my face. These guys don't get to see my face either. Which puts them at a disadvantage. So I apologize for that. But
oh, Pocket, I'm always at a disadvantage. It'll be fine.
Note also, this is my second appearance on their podcast, but the podcast has evolved. Pat is a new addition, and the last time here, it was more of an interview format. This time, I'm trying to make more of a discussion because really, the person that I am is not all that interesting. It's mostly incidental. I try to make my YouTube persona more about presenting ideas and less about me.
Can I ask you about a topic right now?
Certainly, yeah.
I want to know more about this Johnstown flood you were telling me about before.
Okay, sure.
Before we started recording.
And Pat and Pocket, you guys are both natives of Pennsylvania, correct? Just to throw that out there.
Yes, and to get listeners up to speed, I've just met Pat. Sorry, I've just met Pat for the first time. Jeremy, I've known for a while, but Pat and I are both Pennsylvania natives. But he comes from the eastern half, and I come from the western half. And I'm arguing that it's two entirely different states, with Pennsylvania in the middle, of course.
If you say so.
On the left half that I live on, there's this little town called Johnstown. Quite a long time ago, it flooded. And if you've not heard of the Johnstown flood, you need to Google it, Wikipedia it. Really interesting story. Something like 2,200 people died. And it was an engineering disaster. And that kind of brings it to this podcast because it kind of has a engineering flavor here.
Well, I was just hoping you weren't saying this podcast is generally a disaster.
It can be, yes. If you want to see a true disaster, just put engineers on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, okay, so it breaks down like this. The Johnstown flood was caused by a group of wealthy landowners and hunters, and I can't remember. I haven't read the Wikipedia page to prepare for this, but it's the Andrew Carnegies of the area. You know, they had this exclusive private hunting camp, and they built it way up in the mountains on top of Johnstown. Johnstown is down in a valley on the Conemaugh River. Way up at top, they dammed it up. And so you have this lake on top of a mountain with an earthen dam. And they had flood waters, and it gave. And you can still, to this day, drive up and see where the dam was. And it's madness. You don't have to be an engineer to notice that this is just a bad idea to build a giant lake on top of a mountain with a town down in the valley underneath. Catastrophic.
Wasn't that the plot of that movie with the guy from Smoking
the Soggy Bottom Boys? Are you talking about the Soggy Bottom Boys, Jeremy?
Oh, that's a lovely movie. Oh, brother, where art thou?
Yes.
Yes, it's based on the great Greek tragedy.
Oh yeah, because there was the guy with the one eye and yada yada yada,
and the sirens and everything.
Oh right? Yeah.
Homer's Odyssey.
Also starring George Clooney.
Yeah. A little before his time.
I was thinking of the one where, what's his name? Smokey and the Bandit goes down the river. I don't
There's
know.
a river in Smokey and the Bandit?
You know what? We're gonna have to edit this out because I'm forgetting the guy's name.
But you can't edit it out. That's cheating.
Yeah,
Let
don't
them know.
cheat, Jeremy.
No, the
You
guy
can let them know your flaws
Where
and
Burt
limitations.
Reynolds goes down the river and they're saying they're gonna dam it up, and there's the guy with the banjo, and it's not really about Pennsylvania. I think it's in South Carolina.
Well, the Soggy Bottom Boys were the name of the fictional band in the George Clooney movie. Excellent
This is true.
movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I've seen it. It's been a while though.
Have you seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
Yes.
I haven't yet. Now I want to see it because I heard that Buster Scruggs is basically Bugs Bunny.
Maybe.
Because he's always getting into trouble and he never fails to get out of it, and he does it in a very Bugs Bunny way. And now I only learned this recently, and I really need to see this now.
Huh.
Mixed feelings about the Coen brothers' work. No, that's off topic.
Well, I didn't
don't
like their
wanna go there.
Garfield movie. Bill Murray is, well, he's famous for a lot of things, but he's famous for saying that he did the Garfield movie because he thought it was the Coen brothers directing it. But it's a different person with the name Coen. It's not related at all. He just said yes because he liked all the Coen brothers movies.
And that
Yeah.
voice is permanently stamped in my memory as the voice of Garfield.
Where are we going with all this?
So,
Hey, so anyway, why don't we get into our actual questions pocket? So you have one, I assume. So what's your first question / subject?
I made a list of 11 of them.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
I'm ready.
Jeremy didn't
Am
know
I
any
supposed
better.
to answer the questions?
No,
Jeremy
they were
didn't
just
brief
supposed-
me on this.
They were just supposed to be discussion topics, like bullet points that we should each force each other to talk about. But
Okay.
Jeremy he spoiled it by sending an email to us, so we already know what his are.
Oh, I didn't know this was supposed to be anonymous.
Well, I have enough that I can surprise you all.
Okay.
But let's go to the lawn efficiency one, I think.
Yes, I agree. So 10 minutes for that. Are we doing that?
Say that again. Lawn
10
efficiency.
minutes a timer.
That's what we said.
Oh, we better get to it. It's already being timed.
Because Pocket, I was reading this biography of the invasion of Cuba. I read all kinds of stuff, and they said something about how Castro got invited to speak at the UN. They said let's keep it pretty short, and he broke the record for length of time speaking. So this is gonna keep us honest.
Okay.
So,
You started the timer 30 seconds before we got on
all right,
topic.
so he's got to 10:30. It's like penalty time in soccer.
Okay, we'll
Go.
brief background really quickly. Jeremy and I were having this discussion on the telephone, and he keeps saying, "Stop it! We'll use this for podcast material." But I was trying to explain to him that I have this obsession with lawn cutting efficiency. Not because I give a squirt about lawns. I'm not one of those people. I used to live in a neighborhood where everybody keeps a finely manicured lawn. I resent that. I think it's silliness. But that's before I owned a lot of property. Now I have a substantial lawn. So you have to use a riding tractor here. It's probably more than an acre of grass that I have to cut. And so the path that you choose to use to ride your lawn tractor around really affects the outcome of time and fuel efficiency. And
So
I've
you would say you're something of a maybe not a Carnegie, but a Mellon maybe. Is that right with your property now?
Oh, like I'm a land baron? No. But
Where you grew up in Pennsylvania, are they called grass cutters instead of lawn mowers?
no, they're lawnmowers.
Oh, where I come from, they're grass cutters. See, we
I
are in
feel-
different states.
I feel like grass cutters will be the people that cut your grass. Is that
Yes.
not?
Yeah, maybe, but so is the device. I gotta go buy a new grass cutter. I gotta get gas for the grass cutter.
No matter where you live, we have a cultural infatuation in the United States with lawn care. It's obsessive. I don't have that.
I'm aware that I have two different kinds of grass, two different breeds of grass in my yard. We have a nice grass, whatever it's called, and then the neighbor's thick, nasty, ugly grass has been working its way into our front yard. And I want it to take over completely because it grows like a weed and it doesn't need as much water. It's not as soft on your feet, though.
Yeah, Kentucky bluegrass, it's called. The nice stuff that everybody wants, but really what everybody ends up with is dandelions, which I think has a beautiful irony. Consider this idea. Dandelions. Nobody wants them. I don't know why. They're just little yellow flowers. They're even edible. Why doesn't anybody want them? Because it destroys the perfection of the perfectly green lawn ideal. And so people...
I would love to have dandelions.
Well, I do now because I live in a place where nobody can judge me. But here's the irony. People cut their grass. They cut it so often that it causes the dandelions to become selected. The dandelions are under a selection pressure. So the ones that don't come to seed quickly don't get to spread their seed. And so people have effectively selected dandelions for a fast-growing variety, which just made them spread worse. And so now dandelions are everywhere in lawns. It's so beautiful that the people that fought it so hard have made the dandelion problem what it is. I love it. Thoreau has this quote. Let me remember. The mower, perchance, cuts flowers I have not yet seen bloom. I might have botched that quote, but it's a great idea because what we decide is a weed is arbitrary. Any plant, I've certainly lived, or I have certainly learned this after moving out to the woods, that any plant, any weed, if given the right conditions, is beautiful by its own right.
I don't know about those ones that smell bad.
But that's a very philosophical, I mean, that's exactly the kind of insight we expect from you, Pocket, that, you know, just a different way of thinking of things. So
yeah, except it had nothing to do with grass cutting efficiency.
Yeah, well, okay, let's get back to that.
Grass cutting efficiency.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's the engineering problem. Well, supposedly Jeremy has a solution to it. I do not. I instead obsess over patterns, different approaches to cutting my grass. I've tried everything from, I've even tried randomizing, where I just make decisions impromptu to go for the biggest patch of uncut grass. You guys will remember if you've ever used a U-Haul rental truck.
I actually have not.
Well, you'll imagine this, that they argue on the dashboard that, okay, there's a little gauge that goes up when you press the gas. And if you press the gas heavily, it'll go up into the red. And if you just press it lightly, it'll stay in the green and the yellow. And so it promotes people to take their foot off the gas. Why? But they argue on the dashboard that it's for fuel efficiency, but that's not true, because fuel efficiency there are a lot of variables involved. It doesn't know whether you're going up a hill or whether there's rain. It doesn't know about those things. It's just a perfect one-to-one correlation with the gas pedal. You stomp on the gas, it goes up to the red. Let off, it goes down. But what they're doing is they're trying to make you go easy on their engines so that they don't have to wear out their equipment. So it's nonsense, but it's a neat idea that if you can imagine as you're driving the U-Haul, you'll try to keep it in that green zone. So I try to imagine myself as I'm cutting grass as when I'm over 100% uncut grass, I try to picture it as being in the green zone. And when I'm over grass that I have already cut before, it goes into the red zone because I'm losing fuel efficiency. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
In that way, I visualize as I'm cutting grass what patterns are the most efficient. And I've just become obsessed over the years with this idea. And so I've tried a bunch of different, what would you call them? Algorithms?
Yeah, patterns, algorithms.
And I struggle with it so bad. And I'm hoping that, okay, I've said enough. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the topic.
I've used a riding lawnmower once before I was old enough to drive, and I didn't understand how the clutch worked. And I accidentally pulled a big giant wheelie and scared the crap out of myself. I mean, I don't know if it was giant. The front wheels came off the ground, so it seemed huge at the time.
That's definitely not efficient.
No. Well, I didn't know. I lifted the clutch pad. I guess it's a weird thing. It's a clutch and gas are the same. Like when you lift up farther, it throttles up too, and I don't really understand. This was a long time ago. I've slept since then, and I didn't prepare for this test, Pocket. Nobody told me about this, so I'm.
All right, let me tell you my opinion. When I'm at our old house, we had a big hill, and basically I would either go up and down, or then I go like kind of in a circle, you know, like not a circle, like a rectangular circle. It just squishes in on itself like a
What's a
like
big
a
hill
resolution.
to you in Florida, Jeremy?
Well, this was in South Carolina, actually.
What's a big hill in South Carolina?
Well, I think in this yard that was probably less than an acre from the street to the house was, I would estimate, 20 feet of elevation change. It was quite a hill. It was quite hilly there in that particular place. So one time I ran over a wasp's nest, and that was not very efficient when I
don't do
ran into
that.
my house. And
Okay, that's definitely off track. No,
I used to have a hill at the house I grew up in. I did not have a riding lawnmower. I just had an electric push lawnmower. And there's a bit of a hill right at the front of the front yard, but it was too steep to go sideways across. But it was also too steep to go down and then turn around and come back the other way. So you'd always go down.
This is an important point. Hills change everything because that's a complex variable, and that's something that completely remaps how we're going topography.
Yeah.
Completely remaps how we're going to approach the grass cutting problem. So
yeah, I used to have to go forward and then scooch the lawnmower
Yes.
sideways and pull it back and then scooch it over and go, and I would go back and forth that 10 feet.
But for the sake of
Yeah.
simplicity, let's just assume that the yard is perfectly level because the problem is
Okay.
already complex enough. If you have a perfectly let's take the simplest case. In the simplest case, you have a circular area to cut. The most efficient possible pattern would be a spiral. You start at the outside, move in and smaller, just like a roll of toilet paper is wrapped.
I've seen the video of that with a rope attached to the motorized lawnmower that just keeps coming in closer and closer as the rope goes around the post.
all right, maybe Pat has a solution.
You can see that's a good model. It's a good way to look at it. It's perfectly efficient. There's no, except for your overlap from one path to the next. There's no waste. Now,
In machining, we call that step over.
You know, in conspiracy theories, they call that crop circles. That's how they were formed back in the day. They
With a
just had a circle.
lawnmower? Or a grass... I'm sorry, with a grass cutter.
Yeah, well, what they did was they put a big chain on a John Deere tractor, and the tractor would just go around and around. I don't know that to be
Is
true.
that how
but
you did it?
that's maybe no, that's not how I did it. But since we're well into penalty time here, I better reveal the solution for this, Pat.
you don't have a solution to this.
I do have
problem.
a solution. I do have a solution. I live in a neighborhood with an HOA, and the lawn people just come and cut it for me.
I also have lawn people that come and cut it for me.
An HOA isn't the solution to any problem.
I don't have an HOA. We have guys that you call up and they come out every other week. And
I'm not saying I would have voted for an HOA, but I'm just saying I solved it with my my green government-backed tool, which is money.
Oh, nicely done. The abuses of authority that those HOA monsters inflict upon innocent people it's insane. People who I've just recently watched a program where it was talking about how people who have the desire for authority seek it out in those for no other. Some people like authority for no other reason than to have authority.
Man, is there a South Park episode where Cartman becomes a HOA president?
No, but I can
Because
imagine that he'd be perfect.
If not, they should.
in 37 seasons, they must have by now, Jeremy.
Yeah, hasn't been 37, has it?
No, but it's a lot.
It's been a while. Maybe it's been on The Simpsons.
I'd also recommend watching the X-Files episode about the HOA monster.
Ooh,
that
I don't
sounds pretty
remember
good.
that one. And I've
That's-
seen the X-Files.
It's a memorable one. Literally, it's an HOA monster.
Yeah, I guess that was
spoiler.
kind of my guess. But
No spoiler. Okay, so we're not getting anywhere on the lawn efficiency one. It's such
All
an
right.
interesting topic, but maybe for me, a lot of people probably.
general thought on this, that lawn optimization is a quest that you will never attain. Is that
Wait,
just
wait.
kind of your...
I have an important question to go along with that they could probably be answered together. How well have you done on the efficiency? Do you have a bad timing and a good timing to compare? Do you like extreme ends or anything from your experimentation?
Pat, if I were so methodological, if I were so methodical, if I were that clean in my approach to solving problems, I would be unstoppable. No, 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 no. I understand the scientific approach. I just don't ever implement it. No, no, no.
Okay.
I go straight out there with my intuition, and I just imagine all these fantastic models in my head, and I barely ever. There's just no rigor. I'm a mess. And
Well, that's okay. I just figured maybe in the things you've done it a really bad way and a pretty good way. And maybe, it's 10% faster, or 80% faster, or
I've
something.
learned some things about patterns. That's what I can say. I could make some general statements about patterns because, again,
All right. Well, let's just break down a little for this. If somebody was coming here and say, how do we optimize their lawn cutting? What would you say to that person? What's your solution? Do you have one?
yes, we need to develop an AI because it's beyond the capacity for the human. It's beyond human It's beyond the maximum capacity of the human cognitive.
Well, we have a
ability.
fast enough computer. We don't even need the AI. You could just brute force it. Just run simulations until you find something pretty good.
Yeah, and you run it through but the problem is that every lawn is different, and as soon as you plant another tree, the patterns are whatever pattern you were using is completely obsolete. I just planted 15 trees in my front yard, and now the pattern is radically different.
If you get there quick enough, you could just drive the lawnmower right over the trees, and they won't even affect the outcome.
No, they wouldn't. That's definitely an efficient solution.
Yeah.
But efficiency is always with respect to something, Pat.
It is. Well, I thought it was in respect to the lawn today.
Well, yes, if we're being purists, then yeah, we just do the spiral right over everything.
Even the house. We don't need it.
That's right.
So you know what really annoys me as a technical writer and just somebody that thinks about these things sometimes is if you see a commercial that says this can be done 50% faster with this product. I'm like, well, you have to have some standard of fastness. You can't just say 50% faster. It's a meaningless statement. I mean, I think what they're saying is can do it in half the time, but it's not 50% faster because you don't have some, set standard of
Well,
this.
why isn't 50% faster the same as half the time?
Pat, he's saying that there's no basis for comparison because the mathematics is.
That's what I thought he was saying too. But then he said it would be okay if they were saying it was half the time. Did I hear that wrong?
You can do it in half the time, but you can't say. I don't know. I'm having a hard time defining this, to be honest, but it's something that's been bothering me a little bit.
Can I elaborate?
Yes, please, because
one of my topics that I wrote down is bad math and false equality.
Okay, great, because we're well into penalty time here, so we'll.
All right, we'll start that timer over again. Click it. Do you know how to work it?
I don't even know how. I don't even use this ever.
But
that'll be bonus time while I figure it out.
You brought this up, bad math, and I think maybe it's a label for the problem that you have here. Have you noticed, and I know you both have, that when you go to buy toilet paper now, they have these equations like 12 equals 48? What planet are you living on where 12 equals 48? That's 12 rolls of toilet paper, not 48.
Well, look, Pocket. First of all, I'm interested to hear what you say. I have to say on this, but this would have been a fantastic subject like 3 years ago. I'll just put that out there.
Jeremy, this is still a fantastic subject because I'm going to tell you what I don't understand. It's very hard to compare toilet paper, even if all you're comparing is they're comparing length, but surface area matters. They don't have to be the same width, and thickness of the sheets makes a big difference, and what the material's made out of. You can't just say.
Pat? Maybe you should do an empirical test of the product being used and post the video on YouTube so we can all see the result. You'd have to have a control and an experimental
I'm the
group.
control.
Well, anyway, where are you going with this, Pat? Pocket.
Well, I know you know where I'm going with it.
I know where everybody's going. What was your first point? It says 12 equals 48. So now the toilet paper is teaching us new math. I guess.
Are you looking at a calculator, Jeremy?
Maybe that's why everybody was so upset about the new math or whatever they're teaching. I've heard about this.
We're past new math. We're like three stages past new math. New math was before we were kids or right after we were kids or something.
Okay. Well, it's like Common Core math or something.
Yeah, Common Core is it's a more conceptual approach. to mathematical ideas?
People complain about it, but having kids in school, I feel like they like you said, they teach the concept, not so much in memorization. I think it's actually, as much as some people complain about it, I think in that case, I think they're doing a good job, at least some of it.
Absolutely. So, people who complain about Common Core don't understand the underlying argument. I think it's.
Can you guys teach me a Common Core concept? Is that something that fits in the 10 minutes? No.
I guess what I'm saying is, I would suspect there are things about Common Core as a whole that are bad.
Yes.
But you can't just lump it all into one thing.
Yes.
So, but we're off the subject here.
No, we're not. It's bad math. It's bad math. This is exactly.
That's good math. You guys are saying that's good math.
No.
Well, I feel like there's no morality to math, though. I mean, you know, you could say, you know, what, 700,000 people died in the Civil War. That's not a subject of, that's bad.
I don't know, Jeremy. Have you seen the girl?
The math.
The girl who has the dance moves for math?
I have not.
Like this one?
Am I
for plus?
Am I allowed?
And she's got minus, subtraction, and division. These dance moves. Do you know these?
You're punching them. You're punching like your left shoulder over your right shoulder. Okay.
The problem with that is that that's not the type of mathematical concept that we're trying to get through here. We have a real problem with conceptual understanding of mathematics in the United States. You know how I know? You want to know what my evidence is? Because
I do.
Go to Walmart, to the checkouts, and you'll see behind the checkouts there's this big blue machine of lottery tickets. It dispenses lottery tickets to people, and you will see there a sad line of sad faces, and next to that there's a wastebasket that is heaping with scratch-offs. You can't win the lottery. If you believe that you can win, don't roll your eyes. I have Jeremy at a disadvantage.
I'm not rolling. I wasn't rolling my eyes. I was looking into my leftmost lobe where I do my calculations.
Oh, okay. He was accessing that part of his brain. No, the lottery, it preys on our intuitions. We believe that intuitively, we believe that somebody has to win the lottery, and factually, that's a factually accurate statement, but it's also a statistical it's a poor interpretation of the statistical information. And all people are just bad at interpreting statistical information. And so marketing and all sorts of other things, usually aimed at trying to get some money out of you, really exploits our mathematical weaknesses. And that's why we need work in mathematical conceptual competency, and Common Core is aimed at that. If we didn't have a problem,
Jeremy would like to know how to twist this math to get more people to sign up on Patreon.
I would almost laugh. That could almost be funny, that segue, except that's exactly the root of the problem, is that type of design.
But we also wouldn't do that, though.
You are contriving to exploit people by, like, that's exactly what that is. Like, it's all part of marketing, and marketing is so inextricably linked with bad math. We're fooling people all the time, and we just lack honesty in general. And if we were more straightforward, we would just say, Jeremy has a Patreon page because he's trying to run it. Just do it. Give your plug. Plug the people.
Well, we do. I'm not.
Well, all right, I'll put on a plug at it. Please sign up for us on Patreon. And really, we aren't going to give you anything like special, except for we talked about possibly having a request for the bad investment level, the $1,000 a month level. But other than that, no, this is bad. I feel like I'm really
well.
No, don't feel bad.
I mean, everyone's heard our pitch for Patreon. We said you probably shouldn't do this.
But it's in one ear and out the other whenever it's slid in, when it's direct and honest. And it's not... Look, Jeremy and Pat have good ideas. If they have stuff on Patreon, go look at their ideas. Support them. That's what you need to do. Just be direct. But sliding things in, and I'm sorry, Pat, I don't mean to come down on you. It's just it's
okay.
It's an example of...
So just to be clear here, you're making an example out of this, not ours per se, because I feel like we don't necessarily promise anything ourselves.
Yeah, I can see Jeremy getting sad when you say we about what we do.
But
When Jeremy doesn't do that. He's a nice guy.
it's just a cultural problem, and bad math
Yeah.
is at the root. And that brings me to another topic. You want to hear it? You'll like this.
No.
Wait a minute,
I
he's
want
gonna hold
to
up
ask.
the timer first.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not in the penalty clocks
We're getting
yet.
close, though.
Well, then
So
why don't
I
you
wanna-
guys reply to the topic then? With the
Well,
remaining time.
first of all, the lottery. I won't say never. I don't think I've ever bought a lottery ticket actually. But that being said, when the lottery is played, the money rolls over to next, right? So at some point, isn't there a point where more money gets paid out than gets put in
No.
as it gets rolled over? No.
No, it's some percentage. Oh, I shouldn't say this because I'm sure it's different in every state. But some percentage usually goes to some sort of. I don't know if it's a charity, but in Pennsylvania, they always say that the proceeds go to help older Pennsylvanians or something. They say when they
they
read
don't
the
tell you
lottery
how
numbers
big the
on TV.
proceeds are, though.
They don't.
Kind of like includes 100% real cheese. Yeah, but how much does it include? 99% of that real cheese could still be fake cheese.
Well, it's all real. Everything's real when it comes down to it. It's not like you're
Thank you for the.
getting theoretical cheese. And that's the one thing I have a bit of a problem with at the store, or like I'm trying to remember. I think I was at a Chick-fil-A or something. I got a mayonnaise thing. It says real mayonnaise. I'm like, whereas you go to a place that says fresh fish. I'm like, well, I feel like fresh fish is the minimum you require here. You're not going to buy spoiled fish.
Could
Yeah,
be
who would
frozen,
buy unfresh fish?
but most fish is frozen, isn't it? Everything from the ocean gets frozen before it gets even brought back. Is that correct?
depends on-
I don't
depends
know
on
if
how-
that's correct.
I mean, if you're in the Arctic, maybe it comes frozen out of the water.
That's a really interesting question. Maybe I don't know. But let's switch it to produce, because you can't freeze produce, because if you rupture the cell walls in a plant, it won't taste right.
Yeah.
So fresh produce, why say fresh? It's superfluous. Let's just say produce. Nobody's going to buy unfresh produce, right? Would you buy wilted lettuce?
I wouldn't buy lettuce. I just
Yes. So
I'm
so
not
your
doing
answer is no, Pat.
it. No.
Yeah, Pat, the answer is no.
It's a good thing you're here to police my answers, Jeremy.
You know.
And he
this
said I
podcast,
don't get in trouble for anything.
this podcast. You both are acting like I'm just some sort of like dictator of the podcast or something. And now I'm swinging my hand like I am like.
Pocket
So I get
started
my-
it.
Yeah.
I'm here to provoke. That's what I want to do. That's all I want to do. I just want to provoke good discussion. That's all.
All right.
I want to get under your skin and provoke you into good discussion.
You want to move on to your next one, or you want to you want to let me and Pat have a word in here?
Oh,
edgewise.
whatever. Go. It's you have the floor, Jeremy. Go.
Do I have the floor, or Pat? Do you want to have the floor?
Well,
What do
you go
what do
ahead, because I don't think I understand the right topics to be talking about. I don't think I understood the assignment.
All right. Well, what I want to talk about, one of my subjects was collaboration, and I think this.
Stop. Collaborate and listen, Jeremy.
Look, I'm back. I'm back with the brand new edition of this podcast, Pat. So,
Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know.
I don't know.
I wish I could
Well,
sing
anyway.
the Soggy Bottom Boys just to call back to 20 minutes ago.
But let's
I
check out
can't.
the hook here, and we'll go, or flow, or
I
whatever you
really,
might say.
really like this topic, because I got a sneak preview of it last night on that email, and that is a really good topic, because
Okay.
I have a couple.
Well,
You go. Tell me more about it.
We're in
I
trouble
just- I
because the Vanilla Ice confused me, and I don't even remember what Jeremy said the topic was.
Collaboration.
Goodness.
All right, so yeah.
Collaboration. I should have
Let's
remembered that.
collaborate and listen. I'm setting the timer for whatever. All right, so collaboration. Actually, when I first met you, Pat, Pocket, it was I did an article for Make Magazine, and it was about the collaboration between you and Peter Brown on a Jurassic Jurassic Park, the staff thing he made. And I just remember, interviewing you guys and thinking about it. And it took you guys a year and a half to get things right. And I thought, my honest thought was, wow, those guys are really, really lazy. And I, I thought, man, how can they not get things together? And then later I started doing some collaborations. And if you've noticed on my YouTube channel, there's not any collaborations there because I've started one with, I won't mention his name because I can't remember, partly because I can't remember it and partly because I don't want to call him out. And, Pocket, I think I started a collaboration with you maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 2, I don't really know. And it's gone,
And it
it's
was a
come to
fun
nothing.
idea too.
It was a fun idea. And, I made some progress on it. You made some progress. We all made some progress. And there were even some prototypes sent back and forth. But if you keep track of Pocket's channel closely and mine,
I'm in so much suspense here, Jeremy. I want to know what this is.
It came to an impasse because I insisted that Jeremy use essentially garbage or one of the core themes of my channel, at least my main channel, is to use, repurpose, design things for on the cheap. And Jeremy was using components that were kind of like single purpose components, and it wasn't consistent with the channel, and we couldn't come to a solution that was simple enough, I guess, to satisfy my unnaturally unreasonable impulse to keep my channel pure.
Keep my channel. You say the impasse. I keep thinking of the what's the one where I don't know, they're like in medieval times or something, and the guy's got a Zorro mask on. I'm so bad with names and stuff. The Princess Bride.
Zorro.
He says
The
something
Princess
about
Bride.
it in impasse, right? Isn't that like a big...
Inconceivable, Jeremy.
Anyway, so we came to an impasse, and because I wanted to use printed circuit boards, and Pocket said, no, that's not cool. And then we just, I don't know,
We can still revisit it. It's not like it's not as though we're on bad terms over the whole thing or sore over it. It just didn't work, and we just stopped working on it.
Well, yeah, now I'm a little sore over it because I don't even know what it is, and I want to see it.
No, we just have to leave.
You guys have me intrigued.
It was something with lights. Something with lights.
It was
is that fair to say?
It was a crossover. The crossover was Jeremy's more tech proficient than I am, and I'm more geometric, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we were kind of taking a geometric object and applying electronic stuff to it, and it was pretty cool. But okay, that's it. Move on.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking collaboration in general. You have any more thoughts on that? I mean,
yes, I want to hear. I have a question for both of you.
I'm ready. We're collaborating, Jeremy. Me and you.
I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. This has been a collaboration for many years. Yeah, we could be like the Wonder Twins. You pull their things
Matt
up, the
Damon.
TNT Twins.
Tell me about your most effective or fruitful collaborations.
Yeah, it's interesting because that question could be taken so many different ways. I mean, if I had to say, like in life in general, it would be certainly being married to my wife. It's like,
oh yeah, but everybody does that, Jeremy. I mean, not necessarily everybody, but I mean, it's a
cop-out answer.
Yeah, a lot. Well, I mean, just doing something everybody else already did. Like, how about something that you did that's more unique that most people have? Like,
all right. I guess getting married isn't good enough for Pat.
Even I'm married.
That's true. Yeah. What did your wife think about taking on the last name Pocket or 83 when you guys got married? Was that okay with her?
Yeah, she's pretty easygoing.
Okay.
She's kind of used to my quirks by now. Actually, the other day I was doing something weird in the kitchen, and she gave me this look. She gave me this look, and she said, "Why are you?" And I said, "Do you even want to ask?" And we both started laughing. She said, "No, not really," and she just walked away. After how many years now, she's just totally comfortable with the weirdness. Usually because the weirdness and I have a fruitful collaboration.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an even more general answer than I gave, Pocket. So
That's not my answer, though. If
Bah.
if I were to answer my own question, but you guys are evading it, and I want to hear your answers. Your real.
Oh, I haven't evaded it. I haven't even gotten to my answer.
all right,
Did you?
all right. My most fruitful collaboration, I would say, was probably with with Max Maker and Pat, and just having this and everybody that's been on here. I think hopefully that's not too much of a cop out.
No,
Not everybody has
it's a good answer. You guys have, the three of you have established a nice body of work.
Well, thank you.
I actually frequent it, and yesterday in preparation, I went through your most recent guest. What was his name?
Excellent.
Perks.
Alex Wilson.
No, Perks. DIY Perks.
DIY Perks. Yeah, he wasn't our most recent, but yeah, he's an excellent guest for sure.
Well, I went through the whole thing. He was great. He was a model guest. I can't live up to him.
Matt is the nicest guy on YouTube.
He also said something that really resonated with. He said a few things that resonated with me. But
let's hear it.
for one, I want to poke at a difference, though. He said that he doesn't prototype. Oh my goodness, he doesn't prototype things but due to time constraints. And I understand YouTube pressure, but I prototype. I love prototypes. I have boxes of prototypes.
Yeah, but his whole channel is prototyping. I mean, mine too in a way. I don't, I prototype stuff, but it's more like I video the process and hopefully it comes out to be right.
Yes, and sometimes you have to throw caution to the wind and just proceed, and you have all of your chips in one place. Failure is not an option, and I have had projects like that. Have you seen that? What was it? It was like a wooden cube. What did I call it? A trefoil cube. Did you see that? It was one piece of black walnut.
I don't. It sounds familiar. I can't.
Well,
really...
it's a wooden knot, effectively. And
it was on your channel.
Yeah, and
okay, I saw the thumbnail image for that.
I did do some prototyping, but when it came to the actual thing, you can't fake it. You can't break it. I'm filming it, and once you have several weeks of film footage and editing, and that's a lot of work. It's a big gamble, and towards the end, it's stressful. The video, how many views it has is almost incidental, but the work, the video as a piece of work was important to me.
A difference between the three of us and Matt Perks is that he needs to get to success because that's his livelihood. He needs the month-long project to work, to post the video, to make... I don't want to say to feed himself that month, but because I'm sure he's doing better than that, but...
Yeah, I took YouTube very seriously for a while before it crashed and burned. But, wait, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
Well, let's give Pat let us give Pat a chance to answer that question.
Oh, yeah.
About collaboration. My
I'd like to listen.
Most meaningful, impactful collaboration? Is that around the right... Well, I'm not going to say the podcast because you can't repeat it. I'm going to say all the work we did to get our local makerspace up and running and being in the management of the makerspace for 2 or 3 years. And we started that makerspace. I was involved right after we opened the building, and they've moved, they've grown since I left, and they're in a new, they're bigger, better than ever. I'd say that's probably the best collaboration I've ever done.
I think that was a really
that's a good one.
Sound and serious answer. That's commendable.
Is that good? Or was I supposed to do something goofy?
Well, I was expecting something goofy, but that beats mine.
Okay, well, what's yours, Pocket? We want to hear this.
But mine's silly, but it doesn't matter. It's honest. Years ago, I was on a very small team of guys. There were 4 of us. Two of them were from the UK, and one was from the Netherlands, and we worked on a video game together.
Oh, that's fun.
And
that's not
was it the one
silly
with
at all.
the marble, the marble thing?
Yeah, honestly, it was the 4 of us worked so well together. I think it came so naturally. I felt like I would always be able to have collaborations like that, and I've always been after that feeling again, but every collaboration I've been involved with has fallen short of that. It's just never as good. Those guys were brilliant, and our team produced things that were just so creative. There are things out there now because of it that are just incredible. I'm so proud of them.
Well, it is amazing when you can get into a point where you have a certain skill set, somebody else has a certain skill set, and you guys work together. It's very,
Yes.
very nice.
Yes,
I've experienced that of at least, it's great when it works out, but it doesn't always work out.
When the skill sets are complementary, that's when it just goes to a whole different level, and that's what I'm talking about. One of them could code. I was more artistic. I designed levels. Oh my goodness, it just worked so well, and it's like a first line of cocaine. You can chase it for the rest of your life, but you'll never get it again. It's just a metaphor. I would never advocate. What an awful drug.
I would think so. I mean, probably better than meth. We will have to cut this.
No, you're not allowed
do
to
a little
cut.
editing.
You're not allowed to cut. That's disingenuous. So if you look it up on Wikipedia, there's this graph of different drugs, and it outlines. It's like this this radial graph that's like dots and lines that connect, and it shows the different drugs and how they have different levels of social consequences, health consequences, and I forget what the third category is. But when you look at all the drugs, far and away, heroin is the worst, and cocaine is right underneath it.
Okay, so don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, especially not heroin and cocaine.
Or adults. Well, Podcast, I think probably is a good time to take a coffee break pretty soon. But before we get to that, we actually had a question from a listener and actually a former guest. You wanna address that?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it off for you.
This is aimed to me.
right.
This is at me.
Is that you? Yeah. So
Wow.
first of all, it's from Brian Greiner actually, and he said,
Oh, it is. I see it here, Jeremy.
So about you, he says that's some very impressive work, and I think this kind of goes back to what you said earlier. He says, I like how he talks about philosophy of approaching projects, e.g., even small amounts of progress are still real progress. I'm looking forward to seeing this interview. What sort of dust control does he use in the shop? There's a personal safety issue, of course, but I saw that he heats his shop with a stove, and dust and flames are a deadly combination. Yes, I'm a stickler for safety issues. Just ask Jeremy. So, what do you think about that? What do you do about your dust in your shop?
Is the caller somebody that you said it was a previous guest?
Yeah, he's been on here before, actually. Brian Greiner.
2 months ago?
2 months ago, yeah. He
Run a YouTube channel or something?
no, he's a author actually. Wrote several works of fiction. I think he did technical writing before that. So he's pretty he's an interesting guy.
I'm just curious. Whoever the person is, I'm not going to allow it to flavor my response. I'm pretty unambiguous in my response. That's why I'm almost universally disliked in YouTube, is because I give nasty, honest responses to questions, especially safety comments.
Well, Brian seems to like you so far, so be nice.
Well, I have no reason to dislike him either. I'm flattered that he would ask me any question at all. Most YouTube commenters don't ask questions. It's funny that you'll watch a presenter and they say, a lot of people have been asking about... No, they haven't. You're lying. They haven't been asking you anything. I don't care how many views or subscribers you have. Nobody's asking you anything. People comment. They don't ask. Very seldom do they ask questions. When they do, I roll out the red carpet. I will give you anything at my disposal to answer your question when you ask a question. And to that spirit, let me answer your question. What dust collection do I use? Sadly, shamefully, none. I don't
Just your lungs. You just inhale all the dust.
Well, I do use particulate filter mask, respirator whenever it gets bad. I try to keep the garage door open. I know it's a problem.
I'll tell you, I'm so much happier using the respirator than just a basic mask. I didn't realize how much more air you can suck in
those little
through the respirator than you can like a cloth mask.
Those little white dust masks, don't waste your money. Get yourself a 3M. Get yourself a 3M fitted one. Learn how to do inhale, exhale, negative air, press tests so that you know that your fit is correct. Learn how to do that. Get it fitted so that it's correct, and you will have a much better time using a respirator. It's a wonderful thing. You need to take it seriously. Not all particulate substances are the same, though. I don't take wood dust as seriously as I do like drywall dust or some other things. Well, another concern, another concern with your breathing is the stuff that you burn makes smoke. So some fuels are worse than others. It helps if you use really well-cured firewood. I try to only use maple now because maple burns the hottest. It burns blue. It burns clean. I will never use coal. It's so stinky and terrible.
Sounds like a good answer. Or maybe, Oh, I will say, like, for myself, he didn't ask me, but I will answer this. For me, I have a box fan, and I put a 20-inch filter on it, and I run that a lot, and I think that's pretty nice.
I've been meaning to make one of those. I really have. So to really put a stamp on this, my answer to this person, I really do think that I don't take it seriously enough. Your point is noted. I really mean to get into that. It's just, as a person with many I have a lot of irons in the fire, and I don't know. It's tough to prioritize, and shamefully, I can't always get to the things that are probably more important. So, okay.
I have an air filter in here.
I accept your rebuke. Brian, respectfully, I'll do something about it.
Well, I think he was just asking, but I think Brian will forgive you. I think.
I don't think there's an accusation involved.
But anyway, so yeah, but a good question. And Till, why don't we get to the coffee break? We'll take a little break, and probably for this episode we'll be splitting up into two. So we'll take the coffee break, and then in the next episode we'll be back with Pocket. So, sound good, everybody?
Yeah. Can I do the music?
Sure, please.
Doo 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 doo. Did I do it good?
I think that's fine.
Thank you for listening so far. But this was just the first half of our discussion. If you would like to listen to the rest, follow the links down below. You'll know where to find them. There should be some on your screen right now. Follow the links and you can take a trip to visit the Create Invent podcast, where you'll find some other good content. Or you could wait around here for me to upload the second half, but I wouldn't hold your breath.